The alarm goes off. It is 5 in the morning. It's dark outside. You are tired. Your body wants 2 more hours of sleep, but your brain says no. Your brain says that successful people don't sleep in. So you force yourself up, you drink the cold water. You sit in silence to meditate, but your mind is racing. You go to the gym and push until your muscles shake. You listen to an educational podcast while you shower. You journal your goals while you drink your coffee. By 8 a.m., you have done more than most people do in a week. You have ticked every box. You are disciplined. You are focused. You are doing everything right. So why do you feel like you are suffocating? Why does looking in the mirror feel heavier than it did a year ago? Why does every book you read make you feel less smart instead of smarter? Why does every step forward feel like you are just discovering a new way that you are failing? This is the dark side of self-improvement. It is the secret that the gurus, authors, and speakers don't tell you. There is a reason you feel exhausted, and it is not because you aren't working hard enough. It is because the game you are playing is rigged against you. You are caught in a trap, and the harder you run, the tighter the trap gets. Today we are going to walk through exactly why trying to fix yourself is actually breaking you. We are going to look at the psychology of why chasing a better version of yourself often leads to misery. And most importantly, we are going to talk about how to stop running on this treadmill before you burn out completely. It starts with a simple idea. It starts with the word improvement. Think about what that word really means. To improve something, you have to admit that it is not good enough right now. If you fix a car, it's because the car is broken. If you patch a roof, it's because the roof is leaking. When you apply this logic to a human being, when you apply it to yourself, you are sending a very dangerous message to your brain. Every time you buy a self-help book, every time you force a new habit, every time you criticize yourself for being lazy, you are telling yourself a story. The story is, I am not enough. You might think you are building confidence. You might think you are building discipline. But underneath the surface, you are reinforcing a deep insecurity. You are training your brain to look for flaws. Imagine you have a roommate, and imagine this roommate follows you around all day. Every time you sit down to relax, the roommate says, you could be working right now. Every time you eat a slice of pizza, the roommate says, that's going to make you fat. Every time you make a mistake at work, the roommate whispers, see, I knew you weren't smart enough. You would kick that roommate out of your house. You would call the police. That roommate is abusive. But in the world of self-improvement, we don't kick the roommate out. We hand him a microphone. We call him ambition. We call him drive. We let this voice run our lives, thinking it is going to lead us to happiness. But it doesn't lead to happiness. It leads to the gap. The gap is the distance between where you are and where you think you should be. When you start your journey, you have a picture in your head. You see the ideal you. The ideal you wakes up early with a smile. The ideal you is rich. The ideal you has a perfect relationship and 6-pack abs and never gets anxious. You fall in love with this ideal you. You want to be him. You want to be her. So you start working, you improve, you make progress, you actually get better. Maybe you lose 10 pounds. Maybe you get a promotion. You take a step forward. But here is the trick. Here is the optical illusion that ruins everything. When you take a step forward, your horizon moves back. As soon as you lose 10 pounds, you look in the mirror and you don't see success. You see that you still need to lose 5 more. As soon as you make $1 million, you start hanging out with people who make $10 million and suddenly you feel poor again. The ideal you is a ghost. You can chase it, but you can never catch it. Every time you get close, it moves. This creates a state of chronic dissatisfaction. You are living your life in the future. You are waiting for the day when you are finally fixed. You tell yourself, I'll be happy when I lose the weight. I'll be happy when I get the job. I'll be happy when I finish this list. But that day never comes because there is always another list. There is a scientific term for this. It is called the hedonic treadmill. It means that no matter how much good stuff happens to you, your brain eventually gets used to it and returns to its baseline level of happiness. But self-improvement actually makes the treadmill go faster. It turns up the incline because now you aren't just getting used to your life. You are actively analyzing it for problems. You become a detective of your own flaws. Think about the last time you had a lazy Sunday. Maybe 10 years ago, you could just sit on the couch, watch 3 movies, eat junk food, and feel great. You felt relaxed. Now try doing that. You sit on the couch, you turn on the TV, but 5 minutes in, a thought pops up. I should be reading. Then another thought. I didn't go to the gym today. Then another. Look at my friends on Instagram. They are hiking. They are building businesses. What am I doing? You can't enjoy the movie. The guilt eats you alive. You have destroyed your ability to rest. This is what happens when you turn your life into a project. When you treat yourself like a project, efficiency becomes the only thing that matters. And the rest is not efficient. Joy is not always efficient. Doing something just for the fun of it is a waste of time, according to the self-improvement logic. So you strip away the hobbies that don't make you money or make you fit. You stop hanging out with friends who don't align with your goals. You optimize your schedule down to the minute. And then you look around and realize your life has become a spreadsheet. It is perfectly organized, but it has no soul. This leads us to the second major problem, the paradox of advice. We live in the information age. If you want to fix your life, you have a million options. You can go on YouTube right now and find 1,000 videos telling you exactly what to do. But have you noticed that the advice contradicts itself? One expert tells you that you need to sleep less and hustle more. Sleep when you're dead, they say. If you want it bad enough, you'll wake up at 4 a.m. Then the next video tells you that sleep is the most important thing for your brain. If you don't get 8 hours, you are destroying your hormones. You need to rest to grow. One book tells you to focus on your weaknesses and fix them. The next book tells you to ignore your weaknesses and double down on your strengths. One guru says visualize your success. The other says visualization makes you lazy because your brain thinks you already achieved it. What happens when you try to listen to all of this? You freeze. You get analysis paralysis. You spend more time researching the perfect workout routine than you do actually working out. You spend more time organizing your to-do list than doing the tasks. You become obsessed with the method of improvement rather than the act of living. And when you fail, because you will fail, because you are human, you blame yourself. You don't think, maybe this advice is bad. You think, I am the problem. I just didn't try hard enough. This creates a cycle of shame. Shame is a very powerful emotion. It is also a very profitable one. The self-help industry is worth billions of dollars, and it runs on a very simple fuel, your insecurity. If you were perfectly happy with who you are, you wouldn't buy the course, you wouldn't attend the seminar, you wouldn't click on the video titled 5 Things You Are Doing Wrong Every Morning. The industry needs you to feel broken. It needs you to feel like you are one secret away from success, one purchase away, one habit away. So they invent new problems. They tell you that your posture is ruining your confidence. They tell you that the way you breathe is wrong. They tell you that you need a morning routine, a night routine, a skincare routine, and a dopamine detox routine. Suddenly, just being a normal human being feels like failing. You start to monitor yourself constantly. This is called hypervigilance. You are always checking your own state. Am I happy right now? Am I productive right now? Am I being mindful? Imagine you are trying to dance. You are listening to the music, moving your body, having fun. Now, imagine someone asks you to look at your feet while you dance to make sure you are stepping in the perfect spot. Suddenly, the rhythm is gone. You are stumbling. You are awkward. You aren't dancing anymore. You are performing. Self-improvement turns your life into a performance. You are constantly watching yourself from the outside, judging how well you are doing at being a person. You can never just be. You always have to be becoming. And this constant pressure triggers your body's threat response. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a lion chasing you and a mean thought in your head. When you constantly criticize yourself for not being better, your body releases cortisol. That is the stress hormone. You are keeping yourself in a state of fight or flight. You are at war with yourself. Think about that phrasing: fighting bad habits, killing procrastination, attacking your goals. It is the language of violence. You are treating parts of yourself, your laziness, your fear, your tiredness, as enemies that need to be destroyed. But those parts are you. When you go to war with yourself, the winner is you, but the loser is also you. You end up battered and bruised. This is why you feel worse. You are exhausted from the civil war inside your head. Let's go deeper into the loneliness of this journey. When you dive deep into self-improvement, you often start to feel disconnected from the people around you. You look at your friends and family and you judge them. You see them watching TV and you think they are wasting their time. You see them eating unhealthy food and you think they have no discipline. You start to feel superior. You think you are on a higher level because you listen to audiobooks about finance. But this superiority is a wall. It isolates you. You stop connecting with people over shared experiences and start looking for people who can provide value. You view relationships as transactions. How can this person help me grow? If the answer is they can't, you cut them off. But humans need connection. We need lazy hangouts. We need to laugh at stupid jokes. We need to complain about the weather. When you optimize your social circle, you might end up with a network of high achievers, but you lose your friends. You end up in a room full of people who are all posturing, all pretending to be perfect, all terrified of showing weakness. That is a very lonely room to be in. Now, I want to talk about the concept of toxic positivity. This is a huge part of the self-improvement trap. It is the idea that you must always be positive. You must always be grateful. You must always look on the bright side. Good vibes only. On the surface, this sounds nice, but in practice, it is a form of denial. Life is hard. Sometimes bad things happen. Sometimes you feel sad. Sometimes you feel angry or jealous or petty. These are normal human emotions. They are signals. If you touch a hot stove, you feel pain. That pain is a signal to move your hand. If you didn't feel pain, you would burn your hand off. Negative emotions are the same. Sadness tells you that you lost something important. Fear tells you to be careful. Anger tells you that a boundary was crossed. But self-improvement often tells you to suppress these feelings. It tells you to reframe them immediately. If you are sad, write down 5 things you are grateful for. And if you are angry, meditate it away. When you do this, you are not processing the emotion. You are burying it. You are gaslighting yourself. You are telling yourself that your true feelings are wrong. This creates a pressure cooker effect. You stuff the anger down. You stuff the sadness down. You smile. You chant your affirmations. But the pressure builds, and eventually it explodes. It explodes as anxiety. It explodes as depression. It explodes as burnout. You cannot heal what you refuse to feel. So where does this leave us? If trying to be better makes us worse, should we just give up? Should we stay on the couch, eat junk food, and never try to achieve anything? No, that is not the answer either. Growth is natural. Living things grow. If a plant stops growing, it dies. Humans have a desire to expand, to learn, to create. That is beautiful. The problem is not growth. The problem is the motivation for the growth. There are 2 ways to improve. The first way is driven by deficiency. It says, I am broken and I need to acquire things to become whole. This is the trap. This is the treadmill. The second way is driven by expression. It says, I am already whole and I want to express that by creating cool things and seeing what I am capable of. The difference is subtle, but it changes everything. Imagine a child playing with Legos. The child isn't building a castle because he feels inadequate as a human being without a castle. He isn't worried that the other kids have bigger castles. He is building because building is fun. He is curious. He wants to see how high it can go. If the tower falls, he laughs. He starts again. He isn't crushed. His self-worth wasn't tied to the tower. We need to get back to that. We need to shift from fixing to building. When you try to fix yourself, you are operating from fear. Fear that you aren't enough. Fear that you will be left behind. When you build yourself, you operate from love. You love yourself enough to give yourself healthy food. You love yourself enough to move your body because it feels good to be strong. You love yourself enough to learn new skills because the world is interesting. So how do we actually make this shift? How do we get off the treadmill? The first step is the hardest. It is radical acceptance. This is a term from psychology. It doesn't mean you like everything about your life. It doesn't mean you give up. It means you stop fighting reality. You acknowledge exactly where you are right now without judgment. You look in the mirror and say, this is my body. It is the only one I have right now. You look at your bank account and say, this is my money. It is what it is. You drop the should. I should be further along. I should be married by now. I should be happier. Should is a torture device. It argues with reality. And when you argue with reality, you lose 100% of the time. When you accept where you are, the war inside your head stops. The noise quiets down. You can finally breathe. And from that place of calm, you can make a choice. Not a forced obligation, but a choice. What do I want to do today? Maybe you want to go for a run, not because you hate your fat, but because you want to feel the wind on your face. Maybe you want to work on your business, not because you need to prove you are successful, but because you love the product. The action looks the same. You are still running. You are still working. But the energy is completely different. It is sustainable. It doesn't drain you. It fuels you. The second step is to lower the bar. Self-improvement sells you on the quantum leap. Transform your life in 30 days. But real change is slow. Real change is boring. When you set the bar impossibly high, I will wake up at 5 a.m. every day for the rest of my life. You set yourself up for failure. And when you fail, you spiral. Try setting the bar so low you can't miss. I will do one push-up. I will read one page. This does two things. First, it builds trust. When you say you will do something and you do it, you trust yourself a little more. Second, it removes the fear. Anyone can do one push-up. It's not scary. You stop being a tyrant to yourself and start being a coach. A good coach doesn't scream at an athlete who is injured. A good coach adjusts the training plan. If you are tired, a tyrant says, "You are lazy, keep going." A coach says, "Okay, let's take a rest day so we can go hard tomorrow." Be the coach. The third step is to curate your inputs. You need to protect your brain. Look at your social media feed. How does it make you feel? If you follow accounts that make you feel anxious, jealous, or inadequate, unfollow them right now. It doesn't matter if they post motivational content. If their motivation makes you feel like garbage, it is not motivation. It is emotional poison. Replace them with things that make you laugh, things that teach you interesting facts, art, nature, friends. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid that says every second of your day must be optimized. It is okay to be bored. It is okay to stare out the window. It is okay to have a hobby that you suck at. In fact, you need a hobby that you suck at. Go paint a picture that looks terrible. Go sing karaoke off key. Go play a video game on easy mode. Remind yourself that you are allowed to do things just for the joy of doing them. You are not a product to be optimized. You are a human being to be experienced. Finally, realize that there is no arrival. You are never going to be finished. There is no version of you that has no problems. The millionaire has millionaire problems. The fitness model has problems. The goal isn't to get rid of problems. The goal is to get better problems. You are trading the problem of "I'm broke and stressed" for the problem of "I have a lot of taxes and employees to manage." That's a better problem, sure. But it's still stressful. It's still work. If you are waiting for the moment when everything is perfect to start enjoying your life, you will run out of time. The only time you have is now. This moment, the one where you are imperfect, the one where you are a little tired, the one where you have a few things left on your to-do list. This is it. This is your life. Don't miss it because you are too busy looking at the horizon. Self-improvement is a tool. It is a hammer. You can use a hammer to build a house, or you can use a hammer to hit yourself in the thumb. For a long time, you have been hitting yourself on the thumb. You have been using these tools to beat yourself up for not being perfect. Put the hammer down. Look at the house you have already built. It might have some cracks. The paint might be peeling, but it's standing. It's yours. You don't need to be fixed. You just need to be taken care of. The irony is, once you stop trying so hard to fix yourself, you naturally start to grow. When you stop stressing, your cortisol drops and your body gets healthier. When you stop overthinking, your focus improves and your work gets better. When you stop trying to impress people, you become more authentic and people like you more. By letting go of the need to be perfect, you allow yourself to become better. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off, don't jump out of bed like a soldier. Don't start counting your failures. Just wake up. Drink some water and ask yourself, what is one small thing I can do today that would be nice for me? Not for the future you, not for the Instagram you, for the real you, the one that is here right now. Start there and see what happens, because the best version of you isn't the perfect one, it's the one that is free.